Hey kids, how you boys doing?
Art 101 with Mr. Burgher.
Oh hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Art 101 with me, Mr. Burgher. As always, remember that these videos are intended for those 13 years of age and older. I always appreciate likes, shares, and subscribes, and as a professional artist and educator, I always work to give you the best in art history videos.
The way I see it, you and me got one thing to talk about. One thing.
In this episode, I want to talk a little bit about Baroque art.
So, the point emerges.
Recently on a road trip, I stumbled past a little town called Rembrandt, Iowa. Obviously, the name of the town reminded me of the famous Baroque artist, Rembrandt van Rijn. Now I don't want to get off topic, but I did a video on him a couple years ago. Anyway, I was reflecting on the Baroque and the artworks of Rembrandt, and I thought, I really haven't done a video on the Baroque or the artists involved with this movement in quite a while. So, inspired by the town of Rembrandt, Iowa, I decided to go forth with this video.
You got a good eye, son.
When I was in college, I had this professor that always said, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. But that's such a stupid joke. I'm not going to say that.
Let's go to work.
Now, Baroque didn't just emerge out of thin air. There was a reason for it. The word Baroque originates from the Portuguese word barococo. Now, this was meant more as a jab than as an adjective. It would be used to describe something with bad or bizarre taste. Now, this is the first time in art history that we would see such a diverse style in the arts. During this period of history, we see the over-the-top drama and detailed embellishments all over the paintings and architecture.
Really?
It also must be said that Baroque applied to all arts throughout Europe, including visual art, architecture, music, drama, and literature.
Come again.
To give some examples of the style, we're looking at the style of Versailles Palace, Jonathan Swift's famous novel, Gulliver's Travels, the writings and philosophy of Voltaire, as well as the music of Handel and Bach. But of course our focus is on the visual arts.
Sound good? Yes, sir!
When we think about the vast majority of the artwork that was made during the Baroque time period, they really fall into two different categories, the Rubinist and the Poussinist, those that followed Peter Paul Rubens and those that followed Nicolas Poussin. So you're going to ask yourself, what is the difference between these two approaches? Well, to break it down into the simplest denominator, the Rubinist believes that color rules over design, where the Poussinist feels that the design rules over the color. Now, in the end, the Rubinists would have more of an influence on the direction of art history, and be much more influential in general. And truth be told, if I was a working artist during the Baroque, I certainly would have been a follower of Rubens, and been in that line of thinking. However, I'm a little bit more neutral in feeling that color and design have an equal footing, but yet I digress.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Here are a few other artists that fall under the umbrella of Baroque.
Pretty good.
Don Lorenzo Bernini. During that time, many considered him a prodigy, and many also felt that he would become the next Michelangelo Buonarroti. Over the course of 70 years under 8 successive popes, Bernini would work to beautify Rome and decorate the Vatican with his amazing artworks.
It's my personal favorite.
Michelangelo Caravaggio is very much the bad guy of the Baroque time period, even going so far as committing murder. There were many artists that followed his techniques of using light and shadow to add drama into the paintings, a technique known as chiaroscuro. He developed some amazing skills in only 39 years of life.
Check out the big brain on Brad. You're a smart motherfucker, that's right.
Artemis Gentileschi had a hard time getting accepted being a female in a man's occupation. After suffering a rape, she would devote much of her work to the story of Judith and Holofernes, a biblical story of a female getting the better of a bigger, stronger man by using her brain.
That woman deserved better.
Diego Velázquez is considered by most Spanish artists to be the greatest Spanish painter of all time. He was the official painter of Philip IV, who allowed him the flexibility to go and study painting in Italy. Now, with all of these great Baroque painters, I'm curious which one would be your favorite.
I'm curious what makes you so curious.
What do I know? I color for a living, but even I know that if it's not Baroque, you don't fix it.
That's pretty much.
At the very end of Baroque, it starts to transition into what's known as the Rococo. Now, because I hate the Rococo, I'm going to talk a little bit about it now, so I don't have to make a video about it later.
Can we just forget the past?
Shut up!
The Rococo is best known for its pastel colors, subjects of love, and very much tied in with a Rubinist style. This was an age of the late Baroque. It was exceptionally ornamental and very theatrical, very over the top.
So, pretty please, with sugar on top.
It would begin in France in the 1730s, under the reign of Louis XIV, and soon it would spread throughout Europe. Anyone with knowledge of the Rococo would say that Watteau was the leading artist of the time, but other artists of the time would include Boucher, Fragonard, and Gainsborough.
Accept no substitutes.
The sculpture of the time would be embodied by works like the Arc de Triomphe, in architecture like the Château de Marly, and other applications in interior design, furniture, porcelain, and textile fabrics. Eventually it would become obsolete with the style of the neoclassical.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
I remember that story.
I think this just might be my masterpiece.